Hello, Howie here from You Call This Yoga to help address some concerns you may have and experience at your desk or seated in a chair for desk side wellness, shoulder tension, eye fatigue, breathing loss, tension in hip flexors and hamstrings. Oh, such a list. Well, we'll make some modifications and share some ideas with you. Let's get started. One thing that I'm very big about is having a seat cushion to raise my rump so that I have a certain inclination of my thighs downward. So I've prepared a folded up towel, it's a bath towel, and even though this is a good heighted chair, what happens is my keyboard will affect the slope in my arms, and that could already start to create tension. What I mean is, it would be nice that the arms are sloped downwards, and these drawers had a keyboard in them, but they don't. So what I do is I raise myself up a little higher, so when my arms are extended, even though this is not ideal, it's a little different than sitting up like a T-Rex. So that's why I've already added the cushion. You may or may not seek this, and we'll talk more. Getting back to the concept, desk side wellness is the creation and regular implementation of positions and practices to maintain physical, mental, and emotional health. And I'll touch on several of those modes. Let's begin with physical awarenesses at the desk side. I've started with a cushion to create a downward slope in my thigh. You may or may not see this. I have my fancy pants on to show the stripes. So the hips are higher than the knees, which relates to when we're standing, hips are higher than the knees. I like to have my feet and knees 2 fists apart so that I could be sitting in my mountain pose, which is the #1 pose in yoga. My elbows are below my shoulders so that when I'm engaged, I can draw my elbows down and lift my chest up. That's some of the physical positioning. Just sitting up occasionally can be significant for you. With the wrist and the hands, I like to think of occasionally having the palms up. This is similar to what you might see or experience in a meditation pose, people sitting with the palms up. That opens the chest area and invites the shoulder blades to draw together and facilitate greater breathing capacity. Then that allows the neck and shoulders to not work so hard because they're not crunched up because you're rounded over. So therefore, consider the elbows as a guide for sitting up. Next, sitting and having your feet under your knees hip width apart allows your spine to extend upward as the legs are activated to press the feet downward. You could start to rock a little bit as if you were riding a horse. You could envision that you might not slope over while you're riding a horse. If we add a little breathing, then we can call it cowboy yoga. Here I am riding along, breathing and rippling my spine as I press my feet down. That physical element can help prevent blood clots from forming in your legs. It could create greater circulation in the feet if there are medical conditions that compromise blood flow and nervous system and diabetes. And by activating the thighs, I'm also activating my glutes, and that's important to be able to stand up without using one's hands. You don't have to do that right away, but that's what it helps facilitate. All right, so we've gone through some of the physical elements in Deskside well-being. Next, let's talk a little about the mental. In regards to mental well-being at Deskside Wellness, I'd like to think that sitting up, taking a break, and closing one's eyes just occasionally to visualize the body resting. By resting the eyes and breathing for a minute, you can improve your oxygen flow. That could help process your thoughts. It could reduce eye strain. And it could also give you a moment to reflect on what you've been working on or enjoying. So by sitting up, you can take a breath, close your eyes, and reflect. That could help address some emotional issues that may come up. Deskside Wellness can help your emotional state by regulating your breathing flow. I like the palms up to open the chest because I can address my breathing. And if I'm upset, if something is holding me down or agitating me up, then I can use a slow, steady inhale and a strong exhale to activate myself like a choo-choo train, to get myself going. I suggest understanding that this could be agitating and your medical condition is to be considered. So, strong, slow inhale, quick exhale, activating. Next, brief inhale, slow exhale, can be relaxing. Taking time to reflect or just settle without having to speak. Slow, long exhale, mouth or nose, whatever feels right for you. Gives you room to distance from things that might seem futile, might slow down some restlessness within you. And give time to reflect on if anything needs to be done or said now or later by you or someone else. Take those moments to breathe. Lovely. Let's get back to Deskside ergonomics. I've mentioned the chair seat and the height of that and the downward slope. What about back support? Well, you see that I have a distance from the chair back because I prefer to not have something to fall back into. So this works my core strength to support my spine upward. It also allows room for my belly to expand forward. But if that doesn't work for you, and I'm just going to reuse my pad here, we can make what I call a lumbar roll. See, I've rolled it up. And I'll place it in my lumbar area. And I'll move my bum underneath it. And so, getting back to that horse rocking, that I have something to push my tailbone underneath. Let my shoulder blades draw down as I'm holding the reins, or the reins on my keyboard, or wherever the keyboard is, or taking that break to just get a little more circulation and breathing. As I bring the belly up, the breath comes in, and when I bring the belly back, the exhale occurs. So trying that can help reference your spine and such. Now the keyboard height. I mentioned that ideally the keyboard would be lower. And so my compensation is to raise my seat. That's just the keyboard. And my seat could go even higher. There's room to have pads for hand support, to rest instead of flexing the wrists. Those are some considerations. The monitor height. This is not ideal, but I share it because that's my real experience. And here's my real monitor. And I take breaks. I have to navigate and look up occasionally so that my head is not down. Ideally, I would have a separate keyboard and my monitor would be at eye level. Eye level means about 2/3 of the way up is where my eyes are. So I invite you to look at some of these factors and how you're collapsing into them and how they might affect your posture, your thoughts, your breathing, and your emotions. Four considerations for Deskside wellness. One consideration is taking this seated mountain pose and coming up into mountain pose. Essentially similar to standing at attention, arms are drooping downward, occasionally turning the palms forward and touching the drawers allows me to extend my chest up a little more and to breathe. I could then activate my thigh muscles, my buns, and press my feet down and notice how that feels. This is very helpful to open up the front and back body. Try that. I'll turn towards the camera. Another concept is that moving one's arms and moving the joints in your body increases your respiration. So consider just even this rotation of elbows, shoulders, rolling them back and down, and just release. So they go back and down. I'm a big proponent of not bringing your elbows up to your ears and your shoulders. Good. a little head turn occasionally. I have plates in my neck, so I'm very limited in this movement. So I'm constantly working to level my chin and to maintain my limited range of motion. Having the shoulder blades down and back allows the support for the head and relaxes these upper trapezius muscles. Try that consideration, moving your arms and the support system. Another consideration, one more. We may often sit with our legs in different angles, radiating away from our spine. We could sit in man spread. We could sit with our legs crossed. We could sit in all sorts of positions. And so where are my feet? And you could see underneath that the toes are pointing forward, and that I might not spend a whole lot of time in this ideal position. And that I am aware that I like to come out of this, which affects my spine. So the question on the consideration is, where is my feet to go with where are my elbows? And can I sit up and occasionally work the smile muscles so that I can appreciate what I have? Thanks for checking in. Visit the You Call This Yoga YouTube channel to learn more Deskside wellness. See you soon.